Let's get our first discussion on the road for you this morning, focusing on revenue leakage and how this adversely impacts the economic growth of Nigeria. We've heard stories, accusations, and counter-accusations as to what the factors are, whether they are immediate or remote, and then, of course, what impacts it has on the economy of the country. Up until this morning, for example, I mean, Jumai Manson, my colleague, and myself a while ago, we're also talking about these issues around recovering Nigerian wealth stashed away in foreign places, whether by way of some sort of shell investment or investment in real estate, or maybe stashed away in some sort of banks and tax havens across the world. But then it doesn't take away from the fact one bit that Nigeria loses tremendous amount of money to all of these sort of leakages. My guest this morning is the president, Nigerian Guild of Investigative Journalists, Abdulrahman Aliagon, who is here to help us find sense in all of this. Thank you, Abdulrahman, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, I can imagine. You and I are aware of several investigative works, all right, that have been done in this regard, trying to uncover, or as they say, unearth some of these issues around malfeasance, theft of commonwealth, and things like that. Premium Times, for example, had joined a consortium, so to say, of many other papers across the world, media outlets, news outlets, to also unravel the Panama Papers. As of today, just give us an insight of how troubling the situation is with regards to revenue leakage.
Yeah, good morning, viewers. The issue of revenue leakages, it has been a topic that is on the table, on media tables, every day. And it has come to a situation whereby media organizations, NGO, non-governmental organizations, even possibly faith-based organization and community-based organization, I think it is time to come on board to address this issue. And for us to address this issue, it has to be, we have to make sure that government come up with a system that is actually tilting towards addressing this issue. Revenue leakages, so many papers, just like you said, Premium Times, even some abroad, foreign media, they have attested to this fact, times without number. But up till to date, this thing is still coming on, persisting. So, and you know, government, the way, let me say in particular, Nigerian government, the way they used to react to something, it's like it has been a kind of systemic thing. They believe that when they make noise, they will stop. So that's why I said, because the adverse effect of this issue, it has not even today been telling on Nigeria's life. Because as of today, look at the rate of unemployment. Look at the rate of poverty that is Nigeria are face to face with. So, to me, like I said, it is time for everybody, the stakeholders, the media, the non-governmental organization, and other relevant stakeholders to come on board. To now, it's either it's going to be in a form of summit or a conference to come up with necessary solution that can actually address this issue. For example, daily crude oil that Nigeria is extracting per day is average of 1.9 million barrel per day. When you multiply this in a month, you know what the figure is. What is this? The resources. Nigerian, can we ascertain the amount of resources? I mean, the petroleum resources that is being extracted every day, taking it abroad, process it, refine it, and bring it back to Nigeria. Can we, as of today, can we say this is how much Nigeria is getting per day? So the answer is no. They can tell you is so amount today, and tomorrow is another thing. So that's why I said this has become a national issue, that we have to come to a round table and to devise a solution to address this problem, because it has affected all the facets of Nigeria's life. So it's no longer a gainsaying that Nigeria is facing troubles of oil theft. Is it only oil theft? Go to custom service, is the same thing there. Go to FIRS, is the same thing there. So that is why I said I want to believe it is time for us to come up and stand against this issue.
That's the challenge we have, Abdul Rahman, because a while ago you said it's time government stood up against this monster called revenue leakage. But we have had government for several decades. We've had civil society, we've had professional, long-standing investigative journalists like yourself, home and abroad, also lending their voices, even investing their resources and expertise in this regard. Is it even realistic to expect that one day, in a manner of speaking, the government will wake up on the right side of bed and say, hey, it's time we actually checked and nipped this issue? Is it already a bad situation getting worse?
Yeah, it is already a bad situation getting worse. But even at that, we still have to stand up against it. The reason is that if we say, oh, we should continue to look at it the way it is, sir, one day, Nigeria may wake up and we discover that there is nothing on our table to share again. That is the fact. And, you know, like the last time I was here, when we were discussing the issue of the protest, I am in support of that protest. Forget about whatever happened after it. Yeah, I'm a student of history. In Russia, before the issue of SARS, the government of Russia, the way they treat their citizens, it now gets to a point that the Russians, both the Protestants and the leftists, they came together in a place where we call a tennis court. They sworn an oath that the maladministration that is going on in China is going to end. And that is, the student of history, we know that to be tennis court oath. And they came together, they sworn an oath that we are going to bring the government, the maladministration in China to an end. I mean, in Russia, sorry, to an end. And they swore to that oath and they protested, and until the government of Russia changed the system of governance. And that is the Russian we are seeing today.
But this protest, again, was controversial. People say, yes, the organizers or those who were behind it, by maybe well sponsorship, already, I mean, the best they had was just knowing it was going to start on the 1st of August and end on the 10th of August, which was going to be a 10-day period. But beyond that, they argue that they didn't have anything else, that the protest was amorphous in nature.
Yeah. You know, that is the system. They will say the protest is being sponsored. Yeah, even if the protest is being sponsored, what are the reasons behind
The sponsorship.
the sponsorship? Then definitely there is an issue. Why can't government for once address that issue? Either it is being sponsored or not. The issue of hunger, is that one being sponsored too? The issue of price, fuel increase, is that being sponsored too? These are the issues that government need to address. And our government, it is a system that they will be saying, it is being sponsored by the opposition, it is being sponsored by the enemy of government. Yes, even if it is being sponsored, they have raised issues. Why can't government address this issue for once, so that opposition wouldn't have anything to sponsor again? The enemies of government wouldn't have anything to sponsor again. So, and this thing is becoming a systemic thing. That is, it's like we are adopting something that is not part of us. Look at Syria. There was an increase just in the price of bread. We knew what happened until they reverse it back. What has gone up in Nigeria that has come back to where it peaked? So this,
in terms of prices of commodities.
Yes, and this thing has continuously has adverse effect on Nigerian people. So that I said there must be end to this thing. Either we like it or not, there will be a day that Nigerian will be pushed to the wall, that Nigerian wouldn't have any choice other than to face government. That is just the fact.
Let's talk about some people who are, or maybe some entities who are trying to face government now, to use your term. Nasir El-Rufai is the immediate past governor of Kaduna State. A few years ago, as an APC chieftain, a governor of a state, doing his second term, in an APC government, said that the NNPC's books had not been audited for years. This was an APC government. If maybe an opposition governor had said that, well, we can play politics around it. That was a few years ago. Just yesterday, we understand that the Nigerian Extractive Transparency Initiative, that's NITI, is now moving to, as we know it, take a look at the books of over 100 mining and oil agencies, oil and gas related agencies. Over 100. Some report says 109 actually. Does that not show how deep a problem it is? Because it will appear it's a systemic problem. So it's just going to be one chief executive, either the president, the governor, a minister, or a DG of an agency or an executive secretary coming into office, doing same old, they leave office, and the cycle just continues. We have seen cases in this country, even with the NDDC, for example, at a point you and I know, that under the the immediate past government of former President Muhammadu Buhari, it was said that forensic auditors will be brought in to take a look at the books of the NDDC, and then somebody faints during a panel hearing at the Senate, and the rest is history. Does it show we are committed at all?
That is why I said we know all this. And I said it has become part of our system, that government will just look at, when any issue is raised, they will just look at it, that just give them 1 or 2 days.
Don't forget.
Calm down. And it is so. Because look at what is happening in the extractive industry. The biggest corruption in this country is from the oil and gas. And not only oil and gas, mining sector. All over the country, there are so many areas where some either Turkish, Japanese, Germans, they are blasting stones.
Different mining sites.
Different mining sites. What has this impacted in Nigeria's economy? Definitely the answer is no. There is this Minister of Mine and
Solid Minerals, Dele Alake.
Yeah, he started very well. That he's bringing up to do a kind of a summation. I mean, auditing of the how many all these extractive industry in Nigeria. So when he came to office, he summoned the ministries and the stakeholders. But after that, what is the result? We discovered that maybe something might be doing that is not yet bring to the public knowledge. But this is the way Nigerian systems is being run. When they sworn public officers into the office, they can raise dust. When they raise dust, you hardly pick any meaningful thing out of the dust that was raised. So it's like we are institutionalizing corruption. Like I said before now, that the group managing director of NNPC, even as at yesterday, there has been a kind of petition against him, against his administration. Till date.
That's Melekeri.
Yes, till date, the man is still there, cutting the short. So, and the people that raised that issue, they've raised it, government is not doing anything, they cannot go to the office and bundle him out.
There has to be a process.
It starts to be a process.
It was appointed by the president.
Somebody. And this thing has continuously been sounding and in the hearing of government. But today, the man is still there cutting the short. And the same way is applying to all other government revenue agencies. Is it the custom that as of today, nobody can say this is exact revenue that is being accrued from custom service? Even FIRS, look at the way the taxes are being evaded. The moment the FIRS staffs can go to any agency, any organization, and give them maybe the tax bill. But by the time they meet one person or the other, they will settle it and nothing comes out again.
Off the record.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break now because something has to come out of this conversation we're having, Abdul Rahman. We're just taking our time to look at revenue leakage in this country, what the factors are driving this phenomenon, and how much it's affecting in ways that are remarkably adverse our economic growth, and then ultimately what can be done, whether it's by government in particular or a collection of critical stakeholders on these fronts. We're back shortly to bring you the final lap of it. Stay with us. So, Abdul Rahman, I was going to ask you a question now. About, you mentioned Dele Alake a while ago. I know for a fact that he had appeared before the National Assembly at some point, a committee actually of the National Assembly, the Senate in particular. And he was talking about developments in the mining sector, solid mineral sector, as we know it. You, obviously based on your own assessment of him and his performance in office, this is just 1 year, also said that he was doing well at first. I don't know if that assessment of yours has changed. But I remember vividly he raised a lot of salient issues. One of the things he did talk about at that time was that there are powerful Nigerians who are running illegal mining, behind illegal mining in this country. I mean, you have been in investigative reporting long enough to understand these dynamics. Do you think those Nigerians are so powerful that they probably have become more influential than the country?
The point is, there is nobody in this country that is more powerful than the state. So by the time that you see somebody that is saying that some people are more powerful, they cannot be checked, then we have to check that very person. This is about Nigeria and Nigerians. So if there is any corrupt practices in any, not even only mining sector, in any sector of Nigeria's life, economy, that person must be brought to book. No matter how that person is, but the moment, that is where our government is getting it wrong. And because some of them are accomplices. If they are not an accomplices, why should you do a kind of investigation and you need something, I mean, you can signal, I mean, something to a particular person. Why can't you bring that person to book if you are not an accomplice? So that is just the fact. The government, has become part of this corrupt system. Because if you are not, there is nobody that is powerful than Nigeria as a country. So if anybody found wanting, bring them to book. Bring them to the public there. Let us know that so person is doing Nigeria, is doing disservice to Nigeria as a country. So if you are saying that you discover some powerful Nigerians, are they powerful than the state? Definitely the answer is no. But by the time that you are trying to maybe slide it under the carpet, you don't want to make the identity of those people known to the public, definitely you are part of the corruption that we are talking in Nigeria.
This morning, my colleague and I were talking about, during our newspaper review, we're talking about governors across this country now beginning to have what I'd like to call an obsession with airports. Every governor now seems to want to build an airport all of a sudden. Then you have other issues of tax breaks, tax holiday, tax waivers for some billionaire businessmen in this country and some business entities and what have you. Economic analysts also say that these are some of the channels through which we record revenue leakages and so on and so forth. Now, the federal government does not have the latitude, apparently, to tell state governors what kind of projects they should embark on. But how do we reverse this trend of just either willfully or ignorantly fleecing away, taxpayers' money, exactly, and then we come back and start crying over spilled milk?
Yes, you see, if you see any governor that is talking about building airports, the beautiful fact is that the amount of projects you do, the amount of what comes back to you.
Maybe by way of kickbacks?
Yes, that is the fact.
From contractors?
That is just the fact. Because how can Nasarawa State governor be saying that he wanted to build airport?
Maybe he's tired of coming to Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport, so he wants something closer to home.
That is, I can tell you this for free. There are some states that they actually need airports because of maybe they are farther to where they can connect
with a flight.
We have states like that. But in some states, they don't need it. That is even not the next thing in the line of
the priorities.
Priorities. But they want to embark on it because of what comes back to them. So it now depends on the citizens. They can do the analysis. Do we really need this project, airport? They can look at it. If a state, maybe a state assembly, they can actually maybe constitute a committee to look at it critically. If the state actually needs airport. If the state doesn't need airport, the citizen can stand. The non-governmental organization can stand and say, no, we don't need it. And they can do the economic analysis, analysis of the project. So that is why it is always good to do the visibility studies. First. That will give the project life lift, whether this project is actually needed or not. And when it is genuinely the committee or either the state assembly is genuinely looking at that thing critically from the angle of people. If the state needs it, good and fine, let them go ahead and build it. But so many states don't need it.
Okay, I can imagine. You and I know that financial corruption is probably one of the most prominent ways of siphoning public funds and then, of course, recording revenue leakages and so on and so forth, right? As of today, there's the argument about, okay, let's give corrupt Nigerians, those who have established cases of financial corruption or, against them, some sort of soft landing in such a way that you can say, well, from the records we have, you misappropriated or you stole outrightly 6 billion. So we're just going to do a 50-50 thing. Go and return reimburse us 3 billion and keep 3 billion. We don't care what you do with that. Then we'll have closure. Everybody goes to bed happy and things like that. For example, in 2019, Peter Obi, who at the time was the running mate to Atiku Abubakar on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, had a debate with the former Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. When they were debating particularly about corruption, Peter Obi did say that Nigeria at this point should not be talking about just fighting corruption. It should become proactive in such a way that we're able to plug all of those loopholes that even encourage leakage or leakages in the first instance. How can we start solving this problem beyond just doing what they call mock raking by telling us where the money is going, who stole the money, where they are keeping the money? How do we even ensure that the money doesn't leave in the first instance? Yeah.
Honestly, there are so many ways to ensure that our commonwealth is no longer leaking. But it has to start with government. There is nothing anybody can do if government is not ready or if government is not sincere. Personally, I will tell you that this issue of the people that have stolen Nigeria's wealth, that they should be coming to a kind of round table and saying forfeiting a particular percentage and take back a particular percentage. To me, no serious government will do that. The moment you are found wanting of corrupt case, let the law set in immediately. So the issue of pacifying, it in fact to me is another way of encouraging other Nigerians to go and steal. If you are saying because he has stolen so much, we cannot recover everything, we are recovering a certain percentage, we are encouraging stealing. We are encouraging corruption. We are encouraging leakages until the government is sincerely ready to fight corruption. And when government stops using anti-graft agency fighting their political enemy, that is when we can come out of this mess. There is law that is guiding every Nigerian system. And the moment somebody, because maybe big name, involved in corrupt practices, and we are now looking at it from his big manism, we want to pacify him. What we are telling people that are coming behind is they are encouraging it. Because if I get to any office, I will look at it that I will steal massively. So when the court or when the case comes up, and I will just give them a particular percentage and go away with.
So you already have a master plan before you perpetrate the crime.
That is just it. But the moment you do it, and the law, you face the wrath of the law, it will send a strong signal to other people coming. There was a time, maybe this year or last year, in Saudi Arabia, when some Nigerians involved in one act or the other, they were killed.
Because that's the law there.
That is just it. The moment we are looking at our law, one for the poor, one for the rich, so it's a problem. And we can never come out of that mess. That is just the fact.
It's interesting, but I'm sure by now every right-thinking Nigerian understands that we are not in a good place regarding revenue leakage. Of course, we know how hard it bites when a country is scrambling for money to be able to do the essentials, whether it's infrastructure, things around the health and education, which are very critical areas, or even to ensure that we have an electoral process that is largely free, fair, credible, and of course robust and vibrant. We just need every naira, or as it is in this case, because we are operating a dollarized economy apparently, every dollar to be able to drive growth and development in this country. I mean, former Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy in this country, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, a very sterling economist, one respected beyond the shores of Africa, has said during this ongoing NBA annual conference that since 2014, Nigeria has been in a negative, economically speaking. I think that is something that should keep the leaders of this country awake all night until they are able to come up with a sustainable solution. But again, that's a conversation we probably are just not ready to have at this point in time. I'd like to say a big thank you to you, Abdulrahman Aliegon, for coming to speak to us about these issues this morning. Abdulrahman Aliegon is the national president of the Guild of Investigative Journalists. Again, I'd like to say congratulations on your election. We hope you continue to do an amazing work in this regard.
Thank you very much.
Great. So we're taking a quick break, everyone. Now, we understand the education authorities in this country, of course, spearheaded by the Federal Ministry of Education, is saying that young people, students who are not up to 18, going forward are not eligible to write the West Africa Examination Council exams, or that of the National Examination Council NECO exams, because the age threshold now is 18. So until you are 18, you can't write any of those exams. As a matter of fact, the debate now is what happens in a case where you have a child who is exceptionally brilliant at 15? Are you saying they are not eligible to write WAEC or NECO, or as we call them, O-level exams? We'll find those answers after this break. Do stay with us.